So, hands-on budget joystick review. Now, there's two joysticks that are absent from this review. The Mad Catz V1, I'm not going to spend $30 on another joystick I'm not going to use. And the Thrustmaster USB joystick, which is complete trash at $20. Frankly, for $25, you're better off getting the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro. Or the T-Flight X standalone stick for, $25 to $30. This is the Logitech Attack 3. I don't think you can find this anymore retail. I paid $20 or $25 for it probably close to 5 years ago now. At least 4 years ago when my X45 set got destroyed in a house that I was living in. Met its demise in 110 mile an hour straight line winds and several trees falling on it and a couple inches of rain falling on it by the time I was actually able to get back in. However, it is an ambidextrous stick, and I did see where CyberPower PC, you can buy it there as an accessory if you're buying a new PC. But they want about $30, which is a little bit of expensive, but it is one of the very few ambidextrous sticks. I believe that the V-Flight, or the Mad Catz V1 is also an ambidextrous joystick at $30. So if you're looking for a second stick and can find one used or willing to spend $30, not a bad option. Frankly, if you can get one of these on sale, and we'll talk about that more in a minute, you're better off getting one of these for a left-handed stick. This is the Logitech Extreme 3D Pro. I've had it for about 18 months. I've logged literally dozens to hundreds of hours of flight time between Falcon 4 BMS, War Thunder, and Diaspora. I had a brief experience with Logitech joysticks about 1994-95, where I went through 3 of them in a year. Since then, it left a sour taste in my mouth. I vowed never to go back, but when Diaspora was released a year and a half ago, needed a joystick specifically with a hat controller. And I ran out to Best Buy. This is the only option on the shelf, but since it was the only option, it was $35. I went ahead and picked it up. And I have to say that I've been actually pleasantly surprised, and for $35, it is not a bad joystick. If you go to Big Back Smart, or even a Micro Center, chances are that's what's on the shelf. That's what you're going to end up with. And it's not a bad option for the price. It is a budget joystick. It is a tension spring joystick. That means you should get a couple good years out of it before finally the springs get loose and it'll start drifting on the screen when you don't have it centered. Then you have to increase the dead zone, or it's just time to buy a new joystick. Here you have the T-Flight X HOTAS. Now, you can buy the T-Flight X stick by itself, and it has 12 buttons, just like the Extreme 3D Pro, at the same price point. If I had my choice between the two, that one has a thumb button. This one doesn't, nor does the T-Flight X. Why you make a molded controller right there and don't put a button, I'm not 100% sure. It does have a button up here. It doubles as a PlayStation 3 as well as a PC controller. As a result, you're limited to pretty much 10 buttons. But it does have 5 axes. It has 1, 2, twist is 3, throttle is 4, and that's 5. I really actually do like this HOTAS system at $50. If you are new to HOTAS or new to joysticks in general and want to try a HOTAS setup and have never done so before, this may not be a bad option, especially if CIG does release a co-branded option, let's say with SATEC or CH, as a, quote, Star Citizen controller, unquote. You're probably going to want something for the dogfighting module and into Squadron 42. I really doubt, unless they just do a quick rebranded X55 or X52, that they're going to have a controller on the shelves before this time next year in 2015. I wouldn't expect to see it until late 2015 at the earliest, to be honest with you. So you're probably going to need something to tide you over between now and then. Now, every year in December, Micro Center has this and the T16000M on sale for $20 each. I bought it for $20. In fact, one of my friends in the guild basically is sending me a $25 RSI gift card. I'm shipping this up tonight, and or packing it up and shipping it out tomorrow to him up in Chicago. I've got about 20 hours worth of flight time with it. So hey pal, it should be nice and broken when you get it. It's not a bad stick. Now, I get blasted in the Reddit, subreddit, Star Citizen Reddit, as well as in the forums for recommending this stick. Now, the other people are comparing it to a X52, which is $130, or X52 Pro, which is $150, or maybe the X55 that's coming out that's $200, or a CH lineup of joysticks, which is again $200, or a little bit more than that. Okay, I get it. Yes, the CH Pro throttles and stuff like that, and the heavier Satex or the Thrustmaster Warthog, that's a $500 joystick. Yeah, you're talking about options that cost between 2 to 10 times as much. Compared to those, yeah, it's not that quality of a joystick compared to those. Actually, I don't find it to be any less quality than the default X52. You don't have as many buttons, granted. But the X52 has that same feel of cheap plastic in my hands that a joystick like this would. But more importantly, it does the job. It does the job no worse than this joystick and War Thunder. And I use War Thunder as my example because of the way that they've done their flight model, especially in arcade and historical battles, favors those with mouse and keyboard. Joystick users are at a huge disadvantage. You hit the rudder on one of these two joysticks and your nose, and especially an American plane, goes like this. Basically what it means is I can outfly, with this joystick here, I can outfly probably 80 to 90% of the pilots in War Thunder. I can't shoot them down, especially in an American plane. I can't get enough shots on target. I have to be satisfied with 2 to 3 kills per round, usually with 5 to 6 assists. That changes significantly with the T16000M, and we'll discuss that here in a minute. But the same thing with either of these joysticks. Between the two of them, it's much easier to fly with this setup because it is HOTAS and you do have the throttle right there. And it does have enough buttons to do everything I need it to do in War Thunder. Diaspora, I found myself lacking in buttons. I'd have to go to the keyboard to scroll through or cycle through the weapon settings and missile settings. If I wanted to change missiles, I'd have to go back to the keyboard to do that. Now, also, Diaspora does not recognize this as being a 5th axis. If it did, I probably would have had enough buttons in order to do so. So, partially that's Diaspora, partially that's the fact that you got 10 buttons and 5 axes here. So, keep that in mind. Another nice thing is this does have a center stop block in it. So, in a game like Star Citizen, in theory, I guess you could go reverse thrust, forward thrust. It's just you don't have a whole lot of range of motion. It doesn't give you that much control. And again, if you're powering through, you'll want to stop right there before pushing forward. Some people might find that annoying. Now, interestingly enough, the X52s have a 25-75% block. So basically, anything below 25% or 25%. Or 1/4 becomes 0. Below that would become reverse thrust if you're flying a space fighter or, let's say, a 737 in a flight simulator and you want reverse thrust on landing to slow down. And then at 75%, that's full throttle, and then beyond 75% is afterburn with an X52 style throttle. So, next up is the T16000M. This is the best pure joystick for the money at $50. I bought it for $20 on sale. Absolutely. Now this joystick does have a couple nice features. One, it has the Hall effect sensors. That's magnetic centering. As a result, the joystick's not very stiff when it comes to resistance. To me, that's taking some getting used to. These are very stiff joysticks. I have the tension on this one wound up, and this one here is also very stiff. I personally like the stiff joysticks, but this is accurate as hell. And the fact that it is a magnetic centering, meaning unlike here, you should never go out of alignment. And there are people who had this technology on now 10 to 12-year-old Microsoft Sidewinders that are still using those joysticks. They've lasted that long. One hat switch. The 3 buttons are a little bit wide and spaced out. And then there's this thumb rest. Well, it comes with another thumb rest you can put in here. That's basically a mirror image of that. And as such, this becomes a left-handed joystick as well. It's ambidextrous. The buttons are on both sides. It does have a little throttle thing in there. But the big thing is you can use this left or right-handed. Now, what a lot of people that I've seen suggested doing, and I know a few who are going to be doing this, is using this particular joystick in the left hand, for especially the ones who bought it for $20 at Christmas time on sale. In their right hand, they're going to go with a traditional gaming mouse, a Razer, whatever is popular these days. Map throttle to the zoom wheel, have 2 buttons and then a bunch of buttons over there, and use that to control their head movement and stuff on screen, and then Class 2 controllers. That control scheme may work for some people. It probably wouldn't work necessarily for me. It also happens to be that these people are civil aviation pilots in real life, so they're used to yoke in the left hand, throttle in the right. I flew Falcon 4 and the Falcon 3, Falcon 4, and other flight sims and combat simulators for just so many years. I'm used to a throttle. So I'm pairing right now the CH Pro throttle, rudder pedals on order, they'll be here later today, with the T16000M right now. I've done this in War Thunder. The interesting thing, though, about War Thunder is I can map the guns to the trigger, but when I pull the trigger, it doesn't work. I remap the guns to this button here, the guns work fine. I do not know why this is. It allowed me to map the control, but for whatever reason in game, it doesn't work. I can press this button right now. But I'll see what things are like in Star Citizen, and then I may just break down and get a CH fighter stick, which should give me so many damn buttons I won't even know what to do with. But something about this joystick, because of its magnetic centering at 16,000 by 16,000 DPI detection, makes it very, very accurate. When I fly with this with this particular setup in War Thunder, I can still outmaneuver about 80% of the players out there. Stay behind them. And with this, I get 5 to 6 kills and 2 or 3 assists. Because my nose, when I hit it does have twists, so when I hit the rudder, my nose does this instead of that. So, I also think this is combined with some joystick improvements to the game that they've made in the past update. But anyway, when my nose is just going like that, I can, in British and American planes, I'll just shoot round after round after round into you, and you will go down. So that makes a difference. It'll be interesting to see what will happen with a fighter stick, because the fighter stick doesn't have twist on it. That's why you need the rudder pedals with a CH setup. Now, $20, $20, $30. I'm just going to say $20. So that's $50, $40. Let's just say $100. This was about $93. So let's just say about $100. This costs as much as the rest of these.